Thank you, Joe. Welcome, everyone, to this July 28th, 2020 meeting of the Rotary Club of Gainesville. This is Tom Collette, your Sergeant at Arms. Again, to our guests and visiting Rotarians, please identify yourself, type your name into the chat, and we will recognize you later in our program. If you are watching this later on YouTube, register your participation by sending an email to info@rotarygainesville.org. And last time, we can do this during a meeting because the sale ends in 2 days. Get your Rotary face mask, protect yourself and others while you exhibit your Rotary pride. Place your orders by the day after tomorrow, July 30th, just $5 per mask. Go to our DAC DB webpage to order yours today. And now we begin with song as we do with our meetings on this July 28th. Today, Charlie Page, our song leader, has recorded a rousing rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner as we honor America.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Join me as we sing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you so much, Charlie. We appreciate that greatly as we honor the United States. And now let's do our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now next on our program today is our invocation, today offered by Lori Vidal.
Well, let's pray together. In the midst of a totally new experience for all of us that has us dealing with changes like we have never experienced before, it is encouraging to stop and realize all the many blessings we are still experiencing on a daily basis. We thank you for our families. We thank you for our friends and for the beauty of living in such a desirable geographic location called the state of Florida. And we thank you for the beauty and variety of your creation, for beautiful sunrises and sunsets on the prairie. Life is good, but we are still wrestling with the how-to of life, as many are suffering through the pandemic, health-wise, vocation-wise, relationship-wise. May we be renewed afresh today in this special time together, in our desire to be truthful people, willing to put service above self as we draw on the strengths of one another to help others. Thank you for this opportunity today to chat and to joke and to share life in this unique way. May we be encouraged by this online meeting and the inspiration to be shared by our speaker. I pray in your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Lori. Now we have, looks like in our chat, only one guest to mention today. Last chance for Rotarians, if you're visiting, to put your name in chat. We could recognize you, or if you're a Rotarian who has a guest, please put that name. We have a esteemed guest once again of Barbara Hall. We have Kevin Thorpe with us today, guest of Bobby Hall.
Hello,
welcome, Kevin,
everyone.
again.
Wonderful.
And also,
thank you all.
Also, Bobby has mentioned that Cotton Fletcher is beside her watching, participating again today. Now it's time for some announcements. I have one first before we give one to one of our members. And this is from Linda Reinhardt. Grateful Rotarians, we're off to the races again with the Undy 500. We are once again collecting underwear donations now through August 18th. Please help us support the Alachua County school nurses with this much needed emergency equipment. The links to the wish list at Target and Amazon were sent out in your newsletter this week. Thank you very much, Linda, for that. And with our next announcement, we have Mary Kate Walker.
Hi, everyone. Now that I'm AG3, yay, I need to give a little talk to introduce our, I don't think y'all can see it, probably not, but that is our RI president, Holgar, and his wife, Susan, and they do have a last name, and I don't know how to pronounce this, I'm not going to. They are from Germany, great couple, lovely. Susan is a great person. And his plan this year is to emphasize that Rotary creates pathways for members to improve their lives and the lives of those helped through service projects. He wants to keep clubs focused on keeping our current members engaged and adding new members, which is an interesting thing that we're going to have to learn how to do in this new age of pandemic world. But that's a quick update on our RI president, and of course he was in our one of our Rotary magazines. But I also need to read you a quick introduction from our new DG, Rich Turnbull. He says, "Greeting Flamingos. Rotary has provided Marie and me opportunities to help the world in a slightly less dark, slightly brighter and better place than what it could be otherwise. To fight for the eradication of the crippling disease that is polio, to care for the hurt, the hungry, the homeless, and the helpless. And Rotary has made me a better person along the way, in no small part due to the gifts of friendship and love that we share at our small club and throughout District 6970. We have an amazing, passionate district, one of the absolute best in Rotary world. Over 3,500 Rotarians, Rotaracts, and Interacts who care deeply about our communities and each other. And that is also what makes Rotary such an amazing organization. What this year means to me as your district governor and the ask I have for each of you is to help make sure Rotary opens opportunities. Only by remaining committed to our Rotary ideas embodied by the four-way test, we can face the challenges of today's world, embrace change, and find alternative ways to take the advantage of those service opportunities in our lives. And yes, to the betterment of ourselves, it is being smart, selfish. My charge to all district Rotarians is to look at this Rotary year as one you can take effective action. Each of you have a profound effect on someone this year, either here in the Northeast Florida, or in some foreign land. There is a world crying for help, and Rotary, through your efforts, must answer the call. Rotary is needed now more than ever. With the club's support and help, we can continue our proud tradition of service, servant leadership, strong foundation giving, and fun and fellowship in our clubs. Much is expected of the successful clubs in the district, especially this one. Please help us make this Rotary year our best year so far. Thank you for your service above self. It is an honor to be on this journey together. Yours in Rotary, Rich Turnbull, District Governor, 2020-2021. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much, Mary Kate Walker.
You're welcome.
Up next, for his remarks prior to our speaker today, please welcome to our live video feed, and those of you watching on YouTube, our President, Matthew Brady.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you, Mary Kate, for sharing those words. I had mentioned a week or two ago that District Governor Rich is a short pants wearing, fun loving guy that would rather join a fun and fellowship or maybe a service project instead of a formal meeting. So he passed along those words through the lovely Mary Kate Walker. And if those are wondering, AG3, that's Area Governor 3, correct? Or Assistant Governor 3. Shoot, I think I messed that up. Assistant Governor 3. So thank you again, and we look forward to seeing Rich at a meeting soon. If you're wondering why is Matthew wearing a hat, Matthew's on vacation. He could not stand to miss you all. So he did shave last night because I was starting to look a little bit too much gray. And, you know, I did also miss you all, but most importantly, looking forward to a great speaker today. Maybe I'm as equally excited to hear him or scared if I did not attend based on the skill set he has in tow. So, but before we get to our great speaker, Bootie, and hand it over to Jenny Van Hart, I wanted to highlight that announcement about the Undies 500. It's fun. It makes me smile. I was watching our speaker, not to call him out, but I kind of saw like Undies 500. I saw a look, and it catches you off guard. But when we talked about service this year and being able to do hands-on, roll up our sleeve, boots on the ground service in our community, we said there's going to still be some times, even though we're doing a do-goodery line item in our dues, there's going to be times that there's things that we can do that are meaningful projects. And these are meaningful projects because we have the opportunity to show kids, grandkids, or nieces, nephews, hands-on, we're going to go do this. We're going to participate in this project because you can see that there's many in need out there. They go to school with you, they're around you, they've been around your friends or your kids, whatever the case is. And they have this need that you would have never imagined in your life. And it's a way that we can make it tangible. I mean, we're making it monetary, but it's tangible and learn a lesson from it. So that's why we're rolling that out. As you know, with COVID, the Indy 500 was delayed. That's why we're running the Undies 500 instead of May. We're running it here in August and keeping on track. And then we'll be there to help create supplies for the schools. With that said, that's all I have today. And I hand the mic over to Jenny Van Hart to introduce today's speaker.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to reiterate Matthew's statement about the Undy 500. You can still include your kids, have them click on the link, have them choose the options on Amazon or Target. It's a fun adventure. And, you know, there's never too early to start online shopping. You know, a 6-year-old can do it, unfortunately. So coming to us via past District Governor Tiffany Irvin and Rotary geek Tiffany Irvin is our speaker today. Bootie Cothern is 51 years old. I'm assuming he's still that age, hasn't had a birthday, a native of Greenville, South Carolina, and a 6-time competitor on NBC's American Ninja Warrior. He is the North and South Carolina ambassador for Project Fit America. He is an eternal optimist, a deep thinker, a budding gardener, and an advocate of kindness and lover of life. He sounds like a jolly good Rotarian to me. I'm excited to hear him inspire you and, you know, bring on the questions. I've attended one of his presentations before and the questions were all over the place, which made it really interesting. So don't hold back, ask those questions. And with that, over to you, Bootie, and I am going to turn my microphone on.
I appreciate it. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, got some thumbs up. Good. Well, man, I sure appreciate the invitation. Again, my name is Bootie Cothern. Bootie's just an old baby nickname. Back when I was a baby, of course, you introduce yourself as Bootie, and everybody, the first question is, you know, how'd you get that name? And it's just an old baby nickname that evolved over time. Real name is Scott, and you know, when you're looking over a crib and at a baby named Scott, you can't just say Scott. You got to say Scotty, and then you got to say Scotty Boo, and then you got to say Boo Boo, and then it just evolves from Boo Boo to Bootsy to Bootie, and that's the one that stuck. So that's who I've been all my life, and so I've just embraced it. You get some funny looks when you introduce yourself, but it's kind of worth it. It's fun. Yeah, I grew up here in Greenville, South Carolina. This is home for me. It's always been here. I lived in Nashville for 1 year playing in the music business and decided that wasn't for me and came back here to Greenville. And it's where I love to be, love the climate and everything. Heard y'all talking about being in Florida and how much you love Florida. And yeah, I've been down there a few times and y'all got the sunshine down there, that's for sure, Sunshine State. Yeah, so I grew up here in Greenville. I'll give you a little brief background about me, and but yeah, as I talk, feel free to jot down some questions, and you know, at the end we'll go through all those, and whatever you come up with, we'll do our best to answer. So I grew up with 3 older brothers, and I was always very small for my age. Just in general, always been a small person. I was a little self-conscious about that when I was growing up, and didn't really have a sport to call my own. I was athletic. I would have loved to play like football or basketball. I didn't have the size for really either one of those. And so I really had no stage during high school or college to really, I guess, show people what I could do, or have, you know, compete on any kind of a real stage like that. Played some church league basketball, minor stuff like that. But by the time I got into my 40s, I was kind of looking back on life thinking, man, I missed my chance. I'm athletic, but I didn't get a chance to really do anything with it. And it was a little bit of a, you know, a lot of regret, wishing that I had taken more advantage of things, and wishing I had I don't know, you know, just done more toward that. Figured I was done for. You know, that's when people start retiring, when they're in their 40s. And I saw American Ninja Warrior, a clip or something, come across my screen on either TV or internet, and I just stood there entranced and thought, man, this is my sport. Where has this been all my life? I see people jumping and swinging from things, and that's how I grew up, playing in the woods. Natural movement, natural obstacles, you know, climbing trees, swinging on vines, jumping across rocks in creeks, and just enjoying that kind of outdoor activity. And I was natural at it, and it was just something that I could do. And so I saw this stuff on TV and people doing these things, and I thought, man, I gotta figure out how to get involved in this somehow. And so I immediately went to my computer and started looking up American Ninja Warrior applications. And it was right in between season 4 and 5, when it was a little bit obscure. It was on an obscure network called G4. It had originated over in Japan, and it started getting popular in the United States, but it wasn't really, you know, breakout popular like it is today. And so I was kind of lucky in that sense, in that there wasn't a ton of people necessarily submitting applications. Maybe, I don't know, in the thousands, like anywhere from maybe 4 or 5 or 10,000, somewhere in that range of applications. And but I said, man, I got to throw my name in the hat here. So I found that they were taking applications, and I started filling one out. It's very detailed. It goes into a lot of, they want to know about your story, anything about you that's, you know, that would come across on TV, anything they want to highlight, things like that. It's an interesting combination between a sport and a TV show, both competitive, just like a sport, but also there's a casting kind of a thing to it. There's certainly more talented athletes out there than myself, but they like certain things, and they one of the things I didn't mention was that I am from Greenville. Greenville's the larger known area here in the upstate of South Carolina. But one of the things I like to highlight on the show is the little town where I'm actually from has got a little nickname called Possum Kingdom, South Carolina. And a lot of people around here know that. So they like to talk about that on the show, and it's kind of fun, always an attention getter to hear, especially some dude named Bootie, bald old dude named Bootie from some place called Possum Kingdom, South Carolina. Yeah, so I filled out the application for season 5, and was surprised to get a call back. I had kind of put my application in and forgotten about it. I hadn't heard anything, wasn't sure what their schedule was. And then one day my phone rings. It's American Ninja Warrior, and I'm thinking, man, there's, you know, this is my chance. I get to go. You know, it's an invitation to come compete on the courts in Miami, a reserve spot. And you know, a lot of people were at the time camping out for weeks in this walk-on line system that they had for people who didn't get a call to come compete. And so anybody who gets a call to come compete just feels really lucky to be able to get that. that call. And so I went down to Miami, competed in season 5, and I fell on the 4th obstacle. I competed kind of off the couches, as they say. I had never really had any kind of training on obstacles other than just, growing up in the woods, climbing trees and things like that. And I fell on that 4th obstacle, and but from that moment, I during that process, I met all kinds of great people, and the energy and the vibe that's on the sidelines and in the on the background of the set is just so magnetic and positive, and just draws you in. You want to be a part of it. Everybody's out there competing against the same enemy, which is the course. So it's not so much about me versus you as a competitor, me beating you. As soon as I get off the course and I've find that I've done something that was a mistake, I'm coming to you if you're running next, and I'm saying, hey, be sure you do it this way instead of that way, and this will help you out. So everybody is helping each other on the sidelines and in the background, and it's a unique aspect to that to the sport that you really don't see in any other sport out there, where people are competitors who are actually in the end ultimately gonna win out. One's gonna win out over the other, but we still want to help each other out because we know that we have that common enemy in the course. And so it's not, so for a lot of most people, it's not so much how I do against you, or it's just how I do against the course. It's a personal challenge for me to see what I can do. And so as long as I figure, as long as I go out there with that kind of an attitude, I can't really fail. I'm going to do the best I can do, and whatever happens, and just enjoy the process in that. So yeah, I signed up for season 5, competed there, and met all these people, and then discovered that there's this huge community of people who had built backyard courses and things like that, and a few gyms were starting to pop up just from the popularity of it. It wasn't long after that, I believe, that NBC picked up on the show. And after that, then the applications became very popular, up into the tens of thousands and upwards of 100,000. I think around season 7 or 8, their applications were up in, and these days is up and around the 70 or 80,000 people mark. And so to get a call back is that moment in the spring when the calls start going out and the casting, everybody's getting selected. It's a real special thing to get that call and hear that phone ring. So very grateful for all that kind of thing. So ever since season 5, I did not get to compete on season 6, but I ever since then have been called back for season 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And 11 was last year. Stay tuned for announcements on season 12. COVID really messed some things up with their filming. They were about to start filming in LA on sometime in mid-March, and just the night they were about to film, they had to shut everything down, and so they had to revamp and come up with some new plans. And so stay tuned. Some of that might be coming out pretty soon. Some announcements about that. So yeah, season 10 was my best year. Down in Miami. I had been progressing and getting better and better, training and trying to up my skills and get better at these obstacles. And so in season 10, I put in a lot of work and got a call to go to Miami and compete down there. And I ended up hitting my first buzzer ever, which if you've seen the show, they've got the buzzer atop the warped wall, an iconic obstacle that you run up. And so that was an incredible feeling to put in that work and to get that experience. There's some of those runs are on YouTube, and I'm going to post some links in the chat toward the end where you can go take a look at some of those things and see those runs. And so that year I ended up making my qualifying for Vegas, our national finals in Vegas, which was a proud moment to get there. And I didn't get as far as I wanted to there, but had a great experience. And half the battle is getting there. So that's just a little brief history on my background in Ninja Warrior history there. I've enjoyed using this platform to speak to groups like you, go to schools and talk about fitness with kids there and help promote that kind of a thing. And so with that, I'll share my screen. I don't want to get too, I want to keep that screen. I don't know if when I share my screen, if y'all can see me as well. Can you see me as well with this screen? Yeah. Yeah, so this is basically the presentation, a little simple 3-point presentation that I give when I am working with, when I'm going to speak at schools and stuff and speak to kids. But it is advice, I think, that has helped me and helps anybody of any age. I don't think it's age restrictive. But these are my 3 things to live a happy, healthy, and successful life. And I hope you find something helpful in it. Thing number 1, stay active and keep playing. For kids, this is easier advice. When we get adults and we get to sitting around and not doing as much, get a little out of shape. That's kind of the little bit of how I was in season 5 when I first applied. I kind of let myself go a little bit, wasn't in the shape that it was a big discovery for me to realize that I wasn't in the shape that I used to be. But staying active and being active all my childhood and staying active through adulthood really helped me be able to kind of not get too far behind and make the catch up that much harder, you know? So number 1, stay active. And of course, if you've gotten to a place where you're not active, whatever the obstacle is for you, for some people, it's swinging on things. For another person, it might be getting up and moving across the room. Doesn't matter what somebody else's obstacle is. Your challenge and your obstacles are your own, and you've got the abilities and things to overcome those. At least challenge yourself. Which brings me to the next one, easy one. Challenge yourself. This one is probably tough for kids because they're afraid of failure. And one of the examples I use with them is tying your shoes. You know, when you're learning how to tie your shoes, you failed over and over, time and time again. Or when you learn to play a musical instrument, you fail over and over. But with each one of those failures, you learn something. You learn what didn't work. And so by embracing the failure and not letting it disappoint you and, you know, frustrate you, embracing the failure and being able to say, you know, I'm learning something. I learned what didn't work. And so every failure that I encounter, I try to turn around and just, you know, use as a life lesson, as education and toward success. So yeah, those are good examples of that. Failure, I think, is just one of the best teachers that we can have. One of the things that was really instrumental in my life was when I moved out to some family land about 20 years ago. We've got a large piece of land, and it's got wildlife on it. I'm surrounded by nature. I was listening as one of the people before as the meeting was getting going, talking about being outside and listening to the birds and all the noises of you know, nature, and I love that stuff. When I moved out there, I mean, I was already a fan of nature, already, you know, a fan of the outdoors and enjoyed spending time outdoors. But I don't know, it connected with me in a little different way. Maybe it was just because of the time of life, the stage of life that I was in. Or maybe it was just a deeper immersion into nature. Where I moved, there's no neighbors really around. I can't see a neighbor. I'm just surrounded by trees, got squirrels and wildlife, everything from coyotes and possums, of course, to deer and wild pigs and coyotes and all that kind of stuff. And as I was out there in nature, I started learning that I started seeing how nature how nature works, how nature betters itself through its challenges. Through its challenges. For instance, you know, you see vines reaching for a stronghold, and the one that reaches and hangs on a little bit farther and reaches out just a little bit more is finds success. And the trees, there's a beautiful spot where I've got a lot of obstacles built up in my woods. Tall trees, and they're growing and reaching for the sunlight. And it's fascinating to me to see that kind of thing, because it's a stand of these huge white oaks, and they're growing tall and straight because they're competing with each other for that sunlight. And if you took any one of those acorns that created that tall and straight tree, and if it would have grown out, you're taking root out into an open field, it wouldn't grow tall and straight like that. It'd grow more short and round, you know, spreading out to take in all the sun that's available. But, you know, together when they're competing, you don't get that same shaped tree. And it's just fascinating to me how nature works and betters itself in those kinds of ways by through its challenges. Those trees that are competing are challenged, and they have that obstacle of shade to overcome, and they've got to reach. And in doing so, and in embracing that challenge, facing that challenge, they change themselves. They literally, physically have a different shape than they would have, you know, out in an open field. And so it's interesting how nature can do that kind of thing, and nature betters itself. And we are a part of that. You know, we are a part of nature. We are alive and breathing just like all those other living things. And so I guess the takeaway from that I found was, if that's what nature does, betters itself, then that's what I should do. If I'm a part of nature, that's what I should do. Should better myself. And so I enjoy trying to challenge myself, and not worrying about those failures, trying something new. Trying to add to my skills, trying to, no matter what it is. For me, it's a backflip or something. For somebody else, it might be, you know, anything else. But I love the way nature works like that. And that's been a really big part of my life, and it's really kind of helped shape how I look at things. There was, a lot of people are probably familiar with Henry David Thoreau. I'm going to jump over and grab a different screen. Let's see here. Sorry, while I try this. This is it right here. Thoreau. I was familiar with Thoreau when I moved out there to the woods, but this was one of the, I guess it took me getting out there and living that way to really kind of identify with what he said. And this is one of my favorite quotes from his book, Walden. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear, nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, but a broad swath and shaved close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. And if it proved to be mean, why then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world. Or if it were sublime, to know it by experience and to be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion. And I really loved that, because I don't know, I was experiencing that. I was trying to get down to some more, get up close and personal with my basic needs, learning gardening, trying to grow some of my own food, hunting for some of my own food, things that helped me realize that, we got it pretty easy. We got food on the grocery store shelves, and interestingly, as COVID was happening, and a lot of things were missing off of grocery store shelves, I was thinking to myself how how thankful I was even before the COVID stuff hit, to be able to walk through the grocery store aisle and have that kind of selection. The COVID thing just kind of helped hit that home for me. So yeah, a nature connection kind of bounced around a little bit there, all kinds of different things, but nature has really been a huge impact in my life, and how that shapes our challenges, and how those challenges better ourselves, help us to better ourselves, and help us to overcome all kinds of obstacles. Let me jump back to my screen share here. And let's go to number 3. Be kind. This is something I don't think I need to tell Rotarians. I have had a little bit of experience with some other Rotary clubs. Had a friend of mine, Sarah Mansbach, here in Greenville, with her Rotary club, went down to Haiti, and she had a library project there, and I helped her do a video for that to help raise some funds for that. And that was a fascinating experience to go there and see how people lived, and just the general kindness and wanting to do things to make the world a better place. But for me, being kind is just something I've latched onto as an easy way to apply. It's not just something that you do when you go into work and be kind there, and then go home and not, or go to a restaurant and not be kind. It's something that it's a message that can preach 24 hours a day, as long as you're out and about. It's a powerful message that can preach and change things, and is my way that I like to be able to try to make the world a better place. An easy way that is something that can be done at all hours of the day, and in any occasion, and in any venue. So that's something that is important to me. I was fortunate to grow up in a household that taught these kind of values, and modeled these kinds of values for me. It wasn't just that our parents taught us these things, but they modeled them for us. And so I'm very grateful to have had that kind of an upbringing, and just every day want to do something to try to make the world a better place. I think that's a common thing. It's not anything foreign to Rotarians. That goes along with the whole thing, how we on the sidelines at Ninja Warrior are helping each other. It's not about necessarily competing. While it is competing, it's not. There are bigger things, and helping each other is an important aspect of Ninja Warrior, unique aspect of things. So those are my 3 things right there, and I try to keep it simple. That was another Thoreau thing, message, is to simplify. And so those are my 3 things: stay active, challenge yourself, and be kind. And I think those things, as long as we do those, we're gonna I think that meets up with success. That's gonna create all kinds of opportunities, open all kinds of doors, and bring all kinds of happiness. With that, let me stop that screen share, and I guess we'll take a look over here at some of the chat, and see some of these questions, and see if we can answer
Bootie.
some of those.
Go
ahead.
We've got some questions lined up, and before we get to those questions, I have to do one thing.
Yeah.
Because your show that you're on is my kid's favorite show.
Yeah.
He's probably seen you, and they love me imitating your play-by-play guy. American Ninja Warrior.
There you go. That's Matt.
We love watching the show, Bootie.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun, man, and it's just a community of people that's been crazy fun, and something that you know, I really just getting involved that first season. I just wanted a chance to run the course once, and now I've gotten to do it like 6 or 7 times, and it's just it doesn't lose its excitement.
That's fantastic.
Year. And standing up there on that platform and getting the chance to do that run is really just amazing.
Awesome. Our first question comes from Jason Shank. Bootie, what was your ideal weight for competition? How tall are you? And did you to a plant-based protein diet?
So I am 5.5 feet tall and a whopping 110 pounds soaking wet. And that's really soaking wet because this morning it was just below 106. So I'm trying to pack on some pizza and things here and there to add to that. My diet, I try to eat smart. I don't eat nearly as much fast food as I used to as a kid. I don't think any of us really do. But was eating a lot of my own meats that I hunted out there, a lot of venison, wild hog, turkey. So I feel like those kinds of things are a lot better meats for us than you know, anything that I could get on an industrial food scale, you know, out in the grocery store. And so I lean toward that kind of thing. That's where I get most of my meat. And you know, try to eat healthy with vegetables and fruits, and limit the soft drinks and sugars and things like that. Those things are great, but yeah, trying to limit those things is tough. Let's see if I answered those questions.
The next question comes from Bobby Hall. Two-part question. In your pre-competition training, how closely do your obstacles match those that you faced during competition? Also, second part, how much are you allowed to practice on the actual course, the competition obstacles?
Yeah, it's a common type of question there. Before the course, you really don't know what the obstacles are you're going to face on a given course until you either get to town, maybe a day or two or a couple of days before the competition. And if it's in a public venue, like in Miami, it was out in a park, you could go kind of get at least behind the barricades and see what's going on, and maybe start plotting and planning and scheming with your friends. Sometimes they'll swap an obstacle out maybe the night before, but they're piecing those obstacles together, and they're testing them over the course of a few days to make sure they're not too hard, not too easy. They have a group of testers that come in, people who didn't get selected for the show. But for competitors, you don't get any practice on the course. The moment you step on something and it moves, that's the first time you get to step on it and see how it moves. So those kind of obstacles, those those kind of unknowns really make it tricky. You can practice a lot of movements of certain things and techniques that you might see that translate from one course to another, or from just general obstacle training. But yeah, when you step on an obstacle, a balance obstacle, you don't know how it's going to move until you actually put your weight on it, and so that makes it tough. And so you gotta really adapt very quickly to things like that.
I have a follow-up question to that, Bootie, because I've noticed watching the different seasons, being only 5'5", it seems like the shorter competitors sometimes are at a disadvantage because of your shorter reach with some of the obstacles to reach to the next grab bar or whatever you're trying to reach for. What's been your toughest obstacle, and was it associated to your height?
No, I've never had an issue with any height-based kind of issues. For me, as light as I am, that's one of the big assets out there. When you're hanging from your fingertips for a long time, lightweight is key. And there's some guys that are I'm probably one of the lightest guys. I think I got to be the lightest guy, 106 pounds. And the heaviest guy I know is about 240. And it's amazing to me that those guys can hang from their fingertips and do this stuff. But I guess, you know, I don't know. They got something. It's worked for them for all their life. And so they've trained into it. But so the lightweight is good, but it can be a liability as well in certain obstacles. If you've got to generate some momentum and I don't have the body mass to do it, those obstacles are not as common, but that's something that can really throw me for a loop and really mess me up as an obstacle that requires some mass to move. So the little balanced ones are I really love balance obstacles because my lightweight doesn't really move them very much, and I can scoot across them pretty easy. So I welcome those kinds of things.
The next question comes to you, Bootie, from Greg Young. What is the toughest part of your preparation for the competitive season?
Probably trying to limit my diet. And when I get to a place where I need to start really shaping things, trying to cut out those sugars, man, I love sugar. I grew up on like eating Fruit Loops and things like that. And so, yeah, I enjoy sugar and things like that, but that's one of the tougher things to avoid.
Next question comes to you from Dwight McKee. How long does the taping of the show take? It seems that the shows go on into the night.
Yeah, well, one of the interesting things is that it tapes. If when you watch the show, you notice it's always dark outside when they're in an outside venue. Here recently, the past couple of years, they've tried to get some indoor venues, but outside, when they film outside, they film all overnight. They'll start taping. Well, basically, it happens over the course of 2 nights on a weekend usually. And so the first night will be the qualifying course, which is what they call the shrinking steps, usually some balance kind of step obstacle. And then the last obstacle is, I think the 6th obstacle is the warped wall, the iconic warped wall. And everything in between there will be different, maybe from one region to another. So the show has a little more variety and it's not the same thing. I think it'd get kind of boring if they did every region with the same obstacles. So the first night, you get those first 6 obstacles, and there's a buzzer up on top of the warped wall, and anybody who gets up there to the top of the warped wall hits that buzzer, boom, and that's the qualifying night. Then the next night, they'll take the top 30 finishers from that qualifying night. Well, first of all, they run about 100 competitors through the course over the course of the night, filming when the sun goes down and stopping when the sun comes up. They do that for the backdrop. They like that dark backdrop and the lights and things like that. And so, 100 competitors run that qualifying course, and then they narrow it down to the top 30 who go on to the finals course. The finals course is the same 6 obstacles from the qualifying course plus 4 more obstacles onto the end of that. And so, and those are usually pretty intensive upper body, tiresome obstacles, something that's going to wear you out. So, and then they film the qualifying night, the first night, and then the next night, you film the finals episode, and then those shows will air weeks apart. So it's almost like, you know, they've been filmed weeks apart, but they've actually been filmed back to back 2 nights in a row.
Jenny Van Hart asks, who is in your support crew?
Who is in my support crew? Man, I got a great support crew. Anybody who wants to be. We call my group the Bootie bandwagon. So I got shirts that say, get on it, the Bootie bandwagon. And it's a dual meaning, get on it as in get on the Bootie bandwagon, but also get on whatever it is in life that you want to do, whatever it is you want to accomplish. You know, don't just sit there and say, oh, I wish I'd do this, or I'd like to do that one day. Get on it. You know, you're running out of time. One day you're going to turn around and it's going to be gone, and got to appreciate the moment. And so that's one of my aspects of life that I really try to preach as well, is just soaking it up and trying to live every moment.
David Gracie asks, do you have kids or nieces or nephews? Are they into this or into other athletics?
I've got a nephew that has done some competitions with me. He hasn't taken it so far as to apply for the show, but we had some fun. He actually won a car at we went to his first ninja competition. It was a backyard course, and there was a raffle for a car, and he won this car. It was kind of amazing. But yeah, no kids, never had any kids, never been married, and just happily single all my life. And I think that's one of the things that's allowed me to stay as active as I've been and be able to, I don't know, have these kinds of experiences.
Paul Clayton asks, did you ever consider riding at Churchill Downs or Pimlico or the Belmont? Ever consider being a jockey?
It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking to a friend the other day, and we were laughing about when we were kids. He used to, he said that I should be a jockey. You know, he was a small guy riding a horse. Never really put any serious thought into it, but yeah, that was the thought at one point.
I have a question for you. Do you have a walk-up song? If you don't, I would suggest Casey and the Sunshine Band, Shake Your Booty.
Right. That's a good one. That's quality right there. I like the groove.
Last chance for anyone with a question for Bootie. Come on, Rotarians, last chance. We have time for one more.
Yeah, and I'll post some links down here. I can go ahead and post some of those now, I guess. I've got them copied onto a notepad. Let me drop some things in there if people want to
that sounds terrific.
Check out some of these. That's my website. And
looks like Jason is typing. I see fingers.
Yeah. And there's a Facebook link and Instagram as well. You can catch some of my runs on the Ninja Warrior YouTube page as well, which I just thrown a link down there to that as well.
Jason Shank has nominated David Gracie to race you through the course.
All right.
Wants to challenge you on the American Ninja Warrior.
So
course.
Yeah, I didn't even mention. I'm not sure what's the closest thing in Gainesville, but these gyms have been popping up around the country, and I'm actually sitting in ours right now. I met some other competitors through the show who are actually live here in Greenville. Brett Sims and Grace Sims, and we're all living here in Greenville and have this passion for Ninja Warrior, and so we decided to open our own gym, and we've got a gym that just opened. Our grand opening was supposed to be March 21st, and that was right when everything started shutting down. So it was just horrible timing, but we've been plowing through. We shut down, but we never got a chance to open. But we just kept coming in every day of the shutdown and worked every day, and made the place better, and then have slowly been able to open on a smaller scale and are just easing into things as the circumstances allow, and so that's a really exciting a change in my life and a new adventure that I'm excited and looking forward to seeing how it pans out.
Thank you so much, Bootie, for your talk today. And we will end with a comment from one of our members on today, Mary Crane. She says, what a wonderful, inspirational talk today. Thank you. I lived in, I'm going to say, Sasebo, Japan for 3 years. They study the tree and become so creative with wood making, drawing the tree, and writing poetry. The Japanese are the most wonderful, giving people I have met. Ninja Warriors activate.
Yeah.
So thank
Bootie,
you.
thank you.
How about a nice round of applause for Bootie, everyone?
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you
Hey,
for the
Bootie,
invitation.
Bootie from Possum Kingdom. I love the accent, as you can tell. And I love the name and I love the message. You know, as Rotarians, a couple of things I picked up on is that you talked about that as you all compete, you're all against the course and not against yourself. And I think as Rotarians, 1 million plus strong and a club of 250 here in this club, that's what we are. We have a broad spectrum of talents and skills and hearts of service that we can come together and we can tackle things. And when I listened to your 3 points, it was so appropriate. You know, this year's theme is Rotary opens opportunities. And And what you've talked about is, you know, staying active. And we talked about going back to the basics as a club and an organization, and let's just go out and do things. I talked about it earlier, roll up our sleeves, stay active. And in that, we can challenge ourselves as Rotarians to do things we didn't think we'd want to do before, or put ourselves in situations of helping others. Again, not stealing your message, but just the applicability of what you said today. And third, we talked about, in this time of all times, you know, Rotary has made significant peace efforts throughout the world for 100 years plus, okay? But we talked about that a few weeks ago, that we simply can be kind and step up. We have a platform, a great platform, to be a shining light in the community. And so your message was great today, and I appreciate it very, very much, and think it was spot on today. So
Thank you.
thank you. Rotary opens opportunities. I'm going to send you a commemorative coin. I'm on vacation, so I forgot to grab one. I know where it is. It's laying on my desk, and I forgot to take it with me. But I'm going to mail that out to you. It's a commemorative coin. Rotary opens opportunities, and hopefully you can find that applicability in your life, and know that too, you have all those characteristics to make continue to make a tremendous impact. So before I close today, we close with a quote. And thanks to Mr. Sergeant at Arms Tom Collette, he sent me a great one today, a couple, but I picked one, and it said, "The more you sweat in training, the less you will bleed in battle." And that's the motto of the Navy SEALs. So with that, thank you again. Rotarians, have a great week, and we shall end this meeting with the ringing of the bell.